Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to Gary Morgan Art, and today I'm going to do another reference Wednesday. I'm just going to load up some gestures, female gestures, heroic poses, and some more dynamic poses. I think I'm going to do roughly 3 to 4 poses. Perhaps one of them poses will be more in-depth. Okay, so gesture 2 is more like ballet, so what I'll do is I'll create a curved line into a straight. She is tilting very heavily, so I'm going to get a bit more in depth of the ribcage here. I think it'll help me understand this. It flares out at the sides, tapers quickly towards the bottom and the top. Spine will roll through kind of like here and up into a tube, and then that'll be covered by the scapula and the collarbones. And in this case, the scapula is kind of going up like so, because her arm is raised, and that's has the deltoids wrapping around it. And I'll just add in a circle for the head. My hips are pretty much straight, parallel line that way. Well, not straight, but the lines kind of go like that in a straight direction towards this little area down here. Okay, and I'm going to add in a tube, another tube. Keep it quite quick. These kind of point out, this points out. This leg is sharp, so there's more distance between this hand and the actual reference. But I have neglected accuracy a little bit. So glute here, glute will roll over, that'll roll in front. This will slot in here, roll down, push. This one's kind of crouching, and you can tell that because it's like the hip that's down. Stretch, squash. Another animation, the animation principle I spoke about before in a previous video. This will stretch here, tube, into another tube, bowling pin shape, hand across, fingers flaring out, all of them. I'm just going to do some triangular shapes, thumb on the other side, and pinky would be here, but you don't really see that in the pose. It'll kind of get blurred in together. For licensing reasons, I can't show the reference. However, it is a dynamic gesture drawing pack from Grafit Studio, which, if you haven't looked already and you're an artist that's just looking to improve or level up your character drawings, gesture drawing poses like this from Grafit Studio are the way to go. Latissimus dorsi there. So this muscle here will all kind of roll in this situation. This one stretches in this situation. There will be a bit of a diamond shape here. And then I'm gonna add in some hair. She has a little ponytail. Swirl there. I'll have a little bit of a bump on this one, but wouldn't be that big. I think I'll call that one done. It's a quick gesture, don't need to go anymore. Okay, on to the neck. Okay, this next one's quite dynamic. We got a big kind of swirling action up into a straight, and the head is kind of tilting backwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the hips first in this one, because they are probably the most dynamic part. They kind of tilt in and coming forward in space due to the perspective of the piece. And then Sometimes it helps to just judge the reference a little bit from a different angle, because her ribs are tilting slightly. I'm gonna just draw the same shape I did before, just kind of like an upside down egg that tapers towards the top and bottom. Get the abs in there, like so, just little indications. Some cylinders are there. Bump because of the hip joining, and then you have the muscle overlapping, and then we'll just continue joining that in, like so. This is not going to be guided. This is simply just like, if you wanted to join in with me and have a draw and put me on in the background while listening and just get on with your day, that's perfectly fine. And if you don't want to do that, that's also fine. This is just a resource to kind of just have someone to draw with, being honest. Reference Wednesday is primarily just a way of me doing some life drawing based on, this is Ahmed Al-Duri's idea, Reference Wednesday. I'm gonna pinch it a bit because I want to practice my references after work so I don't lose the ability to draw characters and people in space, which can happen very quickly if you don't practice. When these people in the industry say practice, 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 it doesn't make perfect. It does make improvement, and muscle memory will kick in, which is the most important thing, I think, is just finding your method, or a method that works in your head to establish your muscle memory. Or putting a posing quick. I think putting a posing quite quickly is one of the most important things in any industry regarding art. Well, not regarding art, because obviously there's abstract and stuff, but if you were doing any form of figure drawing of some kind, you would probably be required to do this fairly quickly in the industry. Especially if you have character designs on top of this. I misjudged this arm a little bit. I think I'll rub that out and start again. I'm just going to go back to my cylinder method. If in doubt, tube it out. Okay, that's a difficult one. I think I had the angle wrong. Okay, so I think we would see a little bit of the top layer, and then the second one there, and then it kind of goes to the back, I think. And then you see the taper of the hand. So it looks like it's going really small, and it also looks really long in the reference. It's a bit of a difficult one to draw. But this is why you practice these, so that when you need to draw like a random reference, like at least if you can't remember how to do it, you know of a reference that you've drawn that matches the criteria you're kind of going for. And this left foot, sorry, just peeking around my monitor, this is on my secondary monitor and I can't see, just like that, I think. Okay, I think give it a really long, that'll do for us. And on to the next one. Shadow mapping, I'm just going to bring down the opacity. And I'm going to grab this brush here. So as I said before, it's got a hard side and a it's got a hard side and a soft side. By that I mean this side's soft, this side's hard. So when I'm creating shadows, which should be on the inside of the legs here, as long as I'm fairly soft, I can get like a nice gradient of tone or value, whichever you've been taught. This is probably the most predominant value in this piece here is on the back. I think this person must have been doing poses for a little while. She looks warm. So his skin is kind of glazed over. And in my version, the head is in a little bit of the wrong spot. So I'm just going to correctly, just make it quite sharp. I'm not going to define the head as much as in my previous videos. I think I'm just going to keep it quite plain, quite gestural, but it will have the shadows now. Quick one line like that, kind of following the Riley rhythm. But as this person's kind of Asian, the cheekbone lies higher on the face and also come out a little bit wider, so the Riley rhythm's a little bit higher and wider. And then she's got like a knot. The eyes don't go so much into the sockets on Asian people either. If you do your research, you notice they kind of lie closer towards like the brow bone. And I'll just add one singular shape there and another singular shape there. See, that's the, I didn't even do that little lip shape. It was all the brush. That's the handy thing about this. The shadow side, soft side, is you get some really nice unintentional lines that just look really nice when they place down. Do some smooth ones there. This year I'm just going to keep these really smooth and light because there's not much shadow here. I'm going to add in my shadow shape that runs down the arm like so. It's kind of like a core, if you imagine a core shadow on a cylinder, if you have any primitive shape practice, you'll know your shapes have, a cylinder has core shadows, as well as a sphere having core shadow. Cube not so much because it's 3 dimensions, so you wouldn't have a core shadow, you just have a 1, 2, 3 read, which I've spoke about before. Basically just with 3 planes read at different values, so that the whatever you're drawing popped off the screen, in this case a cube, would require a 1, 2, 3 read to be very dynamic in 3-dimensional space. Okay. And then this here is, it's not dark, but it is having some shadow there. A little bit on this cheek as well. And it goes straight down the back of the leg into the calf muscle, and it kind of rounds down towards the tendon at the back of the ankle. Quite hard to get this right. Just trying to find the right brush size to do this stroke without it looking unnatural. I think that'll do. In a couple more strokes to make it more pronounced, and I'll do a counter one on this side here. I think it depends on which way you're stroking that you get the hard side. So, stroking. I'm stroking my brush to the left. To the right, I get the hard side on the right side. I think she has this on a Gumroad for completely free, so you just go to TV Choice Gumroad if you haven't got this brush and you would like to try it out. I highly recommend it. It's quite good for sketching. It's quite good for your line work. It's quite good for just all around general, like blocking in shadows like this. I generally wouldn't do this, but I just wanted to show how if you didn't want to go into painting like I generally would, you can just plot in your shadow shapes like so. You don't need to do a big complicated painting to make it look nice. This, she's kind of holding this like a brush here. Little fingers kind of go like this up into a point, and then a pinky's kind of sticking out, and you would see it underneath this hand here somehow. I think it's because the knuckles are coming up here, in which case I've made this arm a little bit too long or a little bit too skinny, as it's looking really odd. Knuckle comes there, rolls down. into the wrist. That'll do. I'm going to add in this counter curve here for the elbow. That'll do nicely. Not a lot of definition on this arm here. Just a little quick roll there. Redefine that shadow shape inside the spine. Do a little bit there. A little bit here. Curve that over. You would get quite, like I mentioned earlier, quite a bit of shadow here. So I'm going to just press fairly hard. That'll be the darkest dark in the entire thing. And also there. Would be the darkest dark. So just basically contact shadows is where you'd get the darkest darks in this piece, because it's quite blown out. It's not exactly the most dynamic lighting. There's no 3-point lighting or anything. It's just, I believe, one light from the right, one light from the top. Get a little bit longer. Add in a spear. Perhaps it joins the pommel, the handle. Instead of, we'll make it have a tiny little brother. That way. I'm going to give it a little tassel like I mentioned before. This one can have a tassel too. Now our hand is like so. Knuckles will go there. This goes back in space, so you wouldn't see basically any of this hand. It'd kind of just be like a little thing like that. This goes down like that. Forearm goes up the meat and then gets really tight, like I said there. And then this will curve over at the end and you'd get a little pointy bit for the elbow. This goes up into the underneath the armpit. The latissimus dorsi will wrap over the top of that and you'll get a tricep. Join in the bone to roll down towards the elbow, and then you get a little bit of the bicep from the front probably, but not that much. It kind of is more subtle. I've made it less subtle, kind of more like that. Yeah. See a little bit of this brow bone. Place that up. Add your curve to the eyeball. Don't see any of this cheek. This jawbone goes up higher than that. So this is kind of how I work. I kind of refine as I go. I do a quick sketch generally, see how it looks. If there's things off it from the reference, I just work the fixes into the next pass. I'm not very strict with myself on first time accuracy, because you lose some of the gesture if you try to be too accurate from the start. And this isn't one of my best drawings, as I said earlier. It's predominantly a little character practice session to warm up my character figure drawings, because I haven't done it in a couple of days. I've kind of already de-learned my perspective because I've been busy doing other stuff, and I've just kind of started to forget it. So this is just a nice way to just kind of remind myself how to use perspective on my characters. Like, I can do a simple box, but it's the other stuff that's going to be the problem, is just forgetting how to use grids and boxes in dynamic angles. So I'm going to have to go back this weekend and do some practice. A little sharp line there. I'm going to make that quite dark because I want to give it some interest. And another one there, and nice subtle one there. I'll round that up like that. And I think I'll just about call that one done. This person's got black hair. I'll just quickly blot that in so you can get a rough idea. I didn't add in a shadow for this pole, as I don't want it to I want it to stand out. Sure, this hand overlaps it, however. See a little bit of the thumb peeking through the other side. Get rid of these extra ugly lines. That's because they just show indecisivity. Gets wider towards this bit, as we spoke about earlier. And I think, yeah, as I said, I'm going to call that one done. Bit of shadow there. Nothing too major. Kind of works with simultaneous contrast. If you watch my short on that, it's just like a dark versus light, over and over and over again. It kind of goes with rest and detail. Hey guys, that's been Reference Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed. The subscribe button and the like button. If you dislike the video, leave a dislike, that's fine too, and a comment below. And hit the notification bell to be notified when I next post a video.